Welcome to On Air with Kate Butler, where we are revealing life's best kept secrets. Welcome back to On Air with Kate Butler, where we are revealing life's best kept secrets. Oh, today we are about to reveal some fabulous storytelling and content, because today I have the absolute honor of spending time with Marissa F. Cohen, who is an award-winning 2024 National Campus Speaker of the Year. Do you guys realize how big of a deal this is? Okay, well, if you don't, we're going to unpack it, so don't you worry, but it's really exciting. She is the founder of the Healing from Emotional Abuse philosophy and a six-time best-selling and award-winning author. She also is the host of the internationally acclaimed podcast, Healing from Emotional Abuse, and international healing coach. She's received the Purple Ribbon Award for National Survivor of the Year and was also named top 10 most inspirational female entrepreneurs on International Women's Day, and shared the stage with Jack Canfield, Julie Marie Carrier, James Melanchek, and Patty Aubrey, just to name a few of Marissa's incredible accomplishments. And also, all of her accomplishments, as you can see, are give backs to her inspired impact, which is what we are all about here. So Marissa, officially welcome to the stage.
Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome, and you're so wonderful, and I'm just so grateful to be here.
I am so in my feels about today's episode, just because I know that people are in their story saying, am I the only one? I feel like people are in their story saying, am I good enough? How do I get past this? How do I get out of the dark? I'm still in the rabbit hole. And I feel like a lot of what you do for people is really you help be the light. You help be that light for people. And so I've been really been looking forward to today. When we kicked off season 2 of this podcast, we really made this about people who were going to be able to change, move the needle for people, be game changers for people, right? Change agents for them. And I really think you're that person. Marissa, what can you tell us about part of your story that got you to a place where you now are such an advocate for healing in others?
Sure. So a little bit of background on me. When I was in college, I had a series of super toxic, abusive, narcissistic relationships, all of which changed me in different ways. And then along the journey, learning about what I was actually experiencing and recognizing that I wasn't alone, and the things that I had experienced, other people had experienced too, really gave me the confidence to start talking about it, talk about it with friends first, and then with strangers, and then publicly in forums and on summits, and now on stages. And to go to your original question, what kind of gave me that? Is that what you're asking? What gave me that? It was understanding that it was relatable, that I wasn't alone, and that other people had experienced similar things to me, showed me that I wasn't crazy, that the things that they were saying weren't true. And that really inspired me to want to help other people.
Wow. And so what do you find is one of the main things that people can do, like when they're in that space currently, or they think that they might be, kind of like locked in this space? Like, what is something, like what is kind of like a lifeline that you can give people to say, here's something that I can share with you or tell you or offer you that might be able to help?
So I think the best thing for someone to do for themselves would be to acknowledge that, some of the things that your partner, your friend, or whomever it is, a parent, are saying make you feel bad, and just kind of go online and research the red flags, research, educate yourself on what's going on. That way, that that's not normal behavior. And as for me, the best thing I ever did was talk about it. When I started actually speaking about, just to friends in very private conversations, what I had been experiencing, their reactions were always, that's not normal. Like, he should not be saying that to you. He shouldn't be doing that to you. And that's when it was like a big light bulb for me that something's not right. If my friends are telling me that they don't like my partner because they don't like how he talks to me or they don't like how he treats me, that was a huge indicator that something was wrong, because these are the people in my life that have my back. So talking to people, researching, becoming aware of what's happening is the first and biggest step. Your friends and the people that are in your life that you choose to have in your life, and that you trust and are very respectful of you, they're the people who are going to be the most honest with you because they love you and they want to protect you. And if something's wrong, they're going to tell you.
That's really practical and valuable advice. And so you mentioned some really interesting things here, because a lot of times when we think about these toxic relationships, we think about romantic relationships. But what you also just mentioned here, which I happen to know a lot of people in my community struggle with, is parental toxic relationships. And so how do you begin to help people navigate that if they feel like this isn't somebody that I want to completely get rid of in my life, right? Because it's maybe a family member or something like that that they do care about, but they are beginning to say what you just said, which is, maybe this isn't normal the way that they speak to me, right? Or I'm getting feedback now that I'm, a little bit removed from the family, right? And I'm starting to get feedback, the way that I grew up or the way that this has always been maybe isn't right. How do you begin to navigate that with those types of relationships?
So just to clarify the question, are you asking me that once they recognize that things aren't right, how to move forward without completely cutting them out? Or are you asking how to recognize?
Yeah, without completely cutting them out.
Well, it's very challenging to cut out family members, whether it be parents or aunts or uncles or siblings, whomever. But what you have to do is be comfortable enough to distance yourself in whatever capacity makes you feel safe. So, for example, I have very toxic family, ranging from immediate family to extended family. And so with my extended family, I'm very intentional about when and where I allow myself to be around them, because I don't feel that I gain any value or any positive consequence to being around them in a lot of situations. For example, weddings and family holidays. I don't go unless I feel like I'd like to. There are certain things like some people's birthday parties or some people's houses that I will go to because I feel more safe there or I feel more comfortable there. And that's important to me. My safety is my priority. At this point, I've dealt with them for so many years that I will not put myself in an uncomfortable position to appease anybody else. And if it ticks them off, that's not my problem, right? My behavior cannot be controlled by them, and I can't control their behavior. I can only control me and how I feel in situations. So I will go to certain family members' birthday parties, certain family members, graduation parties, and other people, not so much. And when it comes to a parent, someone that's an immediate family member or a sibling, it's a little more challenging, but the same rule applies. I will only go to situations, to holidays, to gatherings where I know that I have an exit strategy and I feel safe. Because if I start to get cornered or feel attacked, I don't want to be stuck there. And so if it's a large family gathering, it's a little bit easier for me to leave than if it's a small family gathering. We have a huge family. So for anyone else, anyone listening, if you have a situation like that, assess what does and does not make you feel safe, and be your advocate, because nobody else is going to advocate for you. You have to be in control of your situation, what makes you feel safe and when you're there. And to be honest, limiting access is a big power move. People are not going to like it. You're going to get flack and negative feedback. But again, that's on them. And you feeling safe is the most important thing, especially when you're dealing with narcissistic family members.
Wow, what fantastic, fantastic advice. Talk to me about the first thing that we mentioned was award-winning 2024. I don't have it in front, National College Speaker of the Year. There it is. So, so we're jumping over here, but I can see obviously how this translates to the stage and what you communicate when you travel around and speak, right? So tell me a little bit about how this came about, yeah, just like about your national campus tour here. I'm so excited and so proud of you.
Thank you so much. It's a lot of fun. I would love to say, oh, it's fun and not exhausting at all, but I I'm always on a plane. I feel like I live in airports, but I absolutely love it. What I do is I travel around the country and actually now internationally. I just got booked in Germany for August, so that's pretty exciting. But I travel around and I speak to colleges, universities, and military installations and garrisons about healthy and toxic relationships, what they look like, how they feel, what red flags look like, what consent and setting boundaries are, things like that, situational awareness. Because these are all principles we don't talk about. And so people get into unhealthy relationships. They don't know how to set boundaries, or they feel uncomfortable setting boundaries because they've had narcissistic and abusive parents, family members, relationships, friends that have deterred them from being able to do that. So that's what I do. And then I was voted National Campus Speaker of the Year by, I don't know, hundreds of colleges around the country. It was really cool and quite an honor, especially because it was only my second year speaking. So I was the fastest person to win it, and I was only the second person historically to win the award. So that was pretty cool.
Wow. And what did you do? So this is fairly new then, the speaking circuit at this level. And so what did you do prior to that?
Before speaking, I owned and still own a publishing company. I worked for the military in mental health. I was a bartender for 16 years. I did a little bit of everything, just kind of trying to find my footing, but I always knew I wanted to be a speaker. Ever since I started experiencing these things at 19 and then was starting to talk about it and do research about it, I felt very comfortable speaking about it, and I wanted to make a difference so that other people don't experience what I experienced or feel relatable and know that they're not alone.
And so we have a lot of people in our community that have a similar passion to you about their particular message, right? That they say, I'd really like to get this out to more people in the way of speaking. What advice do you have for them about like becoming the type of speaker that gets recognized at this national and now international level? What can you, what can you share with them? Might be some gems or pearls of wisdom.
That's a great question. To be recognized, basically, I don't go in to any scenario to sell somebody something. I feel like I'm one of those people at the kiosks at a mall that are like, here, you want hand lotion, hand lotion, hand lotion, hand lotion, whenever I'm trying to sell. So I just go in and I talk to people and I learn about them and, find a common ground with them. And that's so important because we don't ever want to feel like we're being sold at, or sold to. So to be recognized, just to be a human, don't treat people like they're a paycheck. That was really all I did. I just never wanted anyone to feel like they were a means to an end for me. I want everyone to know that they're my friend and feel safe with me. And I think that was the key. And that's really what separated me from the other speakers that are in my field.
So do you mean in the way of getting the speaking engagement, or is that when you're on the stage, you don't want the people Oh, either way. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's for getting speaking engagement.
Okay. Yep.
But from stage, I don't know if anyone has ever sat in like a lecture where they just talk at you for an hour and a half. And if you recognized whether or not you were paying attention the whole time or wavering in and out of paying attention, but I don't like to just talk at people, which is not evident today. But I don't like to talk at people. I want people to feel involved. So I involve people in the conversation, and it's less of a lecture and more of a discussion, which seems to be really, at least for my demographic, very captivating.
And I also believe that you are not talking at anybody. This is very captivating and engaging.
Well, thank you. I
Love
appreciate
it.
that.
So what is the best advice someone gave you? It doesn't have to be even related to the career, but it also could be. But just the best advice that someone gave you that you have carried with you, it's really made a difference, in your life that you can give back to the audience.
So, unrelated advice, but I feel like I'm always carrying it with me, is that nothing in life is black and white. Everything is a gray area, like a spectrum of gray. And so if you look at any situation, it's not good and evil. It's, there's always another perspective. There's always varying stimuli that's related to both sides. And so I don't look at anything as polarizing. Everything is a spectrum. So that was really helpful. And for me, a big quote of getting through all of my trauma was, life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. And it's kind of the same idea. It could stop you, right? You could look at it as black and white and either you sink or swim, or you can learn to kind of deal with what you've experienced and dance with it. So I took something that was super horrible and could have completely broken me, and it did break me. I'm not going to say that the next day I was great. I mean, I had severe depression. I developed terrible PTSD and anxiety, but I've learned to use that as motivation and fuel to propel me to help other people. So learning to dance in your rainstorm, I think, is super important.
That's so beautiful. So what is next for Marissa?
Well, I'm about to jump international.
Besides Germany, NBD.
Well, it's Germany, Romania, Bulgaria, Poland, and Italy right now.
Beautiful.
And then next year, I'm looking at South Korea, Japan, Hawaii, and Alaska.
I love it. So that's what's next. That's perfect. That's perfect. What is your mission? What's your why for doing all of this?
I want everybody who has experienced abuse and sexual assault to know that they're not alone, and that there's a huge community of millions and millions of people who've experienced something similar to them, so they don't feel like an island. And I want people who have not experienced this to A, know how to help people that have, and B, a good advocate, like a positive advocate, and also preventative measures so that they don't fall into the same traps that I fell into, and that, millions of people have fallen into, because the love bombing and the chaos creating, like all of that stuff, it's all very tactical, and it's systematic for how they lure us in, get us almost like addicted to the chaos, and then keep us in this cycle for as long as we're basically alive, so that's that's what I want to try and get rid of, is their ability to do that.
Yeah, incredible mission. So you're a freaking rock star. I love it. I know truly, because the first time we met, you said this. I don't know if you remember saying this, but you said, like, I don't have a problem talking about the things that other people might not want to talk about. I have a very high level of comfort in this discussion, and I have a way of talking about it in which people, now I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but in which people can relate to, right? And that's why I wanted to have you on here, because I thought, that's exactly what we need. We need to be able to have these very open and honest discussions. We have to have it from people who are speaking from the heart, and also in which we can understand and relate to the topic, right? So that we can learn from it, so we can get something from this, and like you said, like, put an end to it. And so I really want to thank you for that. Now, I know, because they've been listening, that we are all wondering, how do we get into your world? I know you might be in Japan, but how do I get into your world? Either stay in touch with you, support you. Maybe I want you to speak at my event. We have a lot of people in our community that host their own events. So talk to me about, how do we get in touch with Marissa?
Sure. So there are a lot of ways. Social media is universal and international. So if I'm in Japan, you can still be my friend on Facebook. My Facebook is Marissa F. Cohen, and then I believe hyphen National Campus Speaker of the Year. And I'm wearing a red shirt, I believe, in my picture. So that's one way to get in touch with me. I also have an Instagram. It's at Marissa.Faye, Faye.Cohen. But also the best way to really get in touch with me in terms of wanting me to come speak at an event, or if you wanted some form of coaching or advice, my email is booking, BOOKING, at MarissaFayeCohen.com, MarissafayEcohen.com. Email me anytime, and my email's on my phone, so I get them 24/7.
Perfect. You've heard it here first. That's not true because she's been all over the world. No, seriously though, I really, really appreciate your time. Is there anything remaining that we didn't cover, Marissa, that you would like to share or offer to our audience?
I think vulnerability and authenticity go a really long way. So if you're just who you are, people gravitate towards that. And that's probably my parting advice. If you put up a front of someone that you think that everyone's going to like, people are going to see right through that.
Yeah. And I think that is really important for being on the stage too, right? So like when you are just authentic, being on the stage, sharing that story that is your story from your heart, right? Then that is what pours out into the audience. And that's really what they can feel and they can connect in with. So I think that's an absolutely beautiful way to wrap up. Marissa, thank you so much for being here. And thank you all for listening to another episode. As always, we will post all of Marissa's contact information below so you can get into her world and keep in touch. It's been an absolute honor to talk to you today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. You're wonderful, like I said, and I'm really grateful for our friendship. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Marissa. And thank you, everyone. See you next time. Welcome to On Air with Kate Butler, where we are revealing life's best kept secrets.